Daly and Daly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly, a little bit later than we expected, but man, I can't believe how busy Bill Daly must be right now. Bill, Happy New Year. Thanks so much for doing this.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Absolutely. Well, I just talked about this. I can't imagine how busy you are right now. What are the biggest challenges you have regarding your job now versus, say, a normal season?
Well, I mean, it's gotten a lot more complicated, I'd say, in the last month, that's for sure. It's just relating the story that, we had our Board of Governors meeting in Florida in early December. I think it was December 9th and 10th, so it was not even a month ago. And while, COVID had reared its ugly head a couple times and caused some minor disruptions to our season, it certainly wasn't where it is now. And it was soon after we left Florida that the world really started to change in a hurry with Omicron and the contagion associated with that variant of the virus. And so it's been challenging, to say the least, in terms of dealing over the last couple weeks with the number of players who are testing positive, who are having to be isolated, and the game disruption that's happened as a result of that. So it's been a busy couple of weeks for sure.
I know you don't have a crystal ball there, Bill, and you've got the 2-week Olympic break to work with now that the league is not going to the Olympics. Do you expect every team to complete an 82-game schedule?
Yeah, certainly. At this point, we do. I have a draft schedule right here that I was reviewing earlier this morning. Right now, we have every game back on the board within the relevant window that we have to complete the season. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot more runway to work with, and while I think our COVID positive numbers have gone down in the last week or so, we're still having disruptions, and the virus doesn't discriminate. It hits clubs when it wants to hit clubs, and it can hit clubs with multiple players in an outbreak type situation, which creates almost a forced shutdown. So, we're working through it. We hope for the best. That's all we can do right now.
Bill, just quickly, do you still see Vancouver-Ottawa being played Saturday in Vancouver?
Yes, we do. Part of that is the fact that Ottawa is one of those teams that was hit early with the virus. It was before Omicron had made its appearance in North America, but ultimately they had enough players on their COVID list that we had to shut the team down for a number of days, and we don't have as much wiggle room with the Ottawa schedule. So this Western Canadian trip that they're about to engage in is important to keep on the schedule, because we really had nowhere else to move it.
Bill, the big question: when are things going to get back to normal? Are we going to go through this every December because of this virus, or is this spring? Do you think the cases go down and we get back to some sort of semi-normal?
So I can only hope, and you're right, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what the next variant out of the gate will be and what its impact on the world, much less the National Hockey League, will be. What I can say on the good news side of the equation is, we have seen a reduction in the number of positive cases over the last week or so. I will tell you that I think on December 26th, we had 201 players in the National Hockey League who were on COVID protocol. That number has declined to, I think, 88 as of yesterday. So it's come down more than half. There's really two reasons for that. One is the reduced isolation period that was first announced and issued by the CDC here in the United States, but has been followed by the health authorities in Canada as well. So decreasing the mandatory isolation period for COVID positive from 10 days to 5 days for asymptomatic people certainly has lowered the number of people in COVID protocol for us and has helped the situation immensely. But also, the number of players in our league who've already gotten COVID and aren't being tested currently because they've already gotten COVID has shot through the roof and really worked through our player population to the point where I would say probably slightly more than half of our player population have been COVID positive during the course of this year, which means there's only half left who can get it, and the number of teams who can have a material disruption is probably down significantly than it was the beginning of December.
Bill, what's more likely to happen first? NHL participation in the 2026 Olympics or another World Cup of hockey?
I would expect, certainly, and hope that we'll have a World Cup well before 2026. I know it's something that very recently we have discussed with the Players Association as being something to put on the to-do list. Obviously, we're both scrambling to a certain extent, doing what we need to do to get this season played. But that is definitely a priority for both of our organizations, and I think putting on another World Cup, best on best tournament, particularly given the fact that our players won't be participating in Beijing, is a priority for both sides.
Can you envision a time when the NHL doesn't go to the Olympics and only participates in a World Cup?
It's a fair question, and I probably come at that a little bit differently than players or the Players Association might. What I have come to appreciate over the course of my career at the National Hockey League is how important it is for the players to represent their countries on the Olympic stage. I think the World Cup's a great tournament. It's actually more beneficial from a business standpoint to us than Olympic participation ever has been. But I also appreciate and give due credit to the players who feel like Olympic participation is so important. So we've committed to supporting their interests in participating in the Olympics, and we intend to do that going forward.
Bill, I'm watching football stadiums in the U.S. They're full, 70, 80,000 people, hockey rinks, NBA. Then we're watching in Canada, rinks are empty being played. How tough is that? And just give us your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, obviously it's difficult, particularly for the clubs involved in those cities and having restricted attendance. I think it's tough for the fans who want to be at the games. But I also think on some level it's very understandable. We're 2 years into this pandemic. Every jurisdiction has handled it differently, and quite frankly, they're in the best position to know what the right answers are for them locally. And we respect that. So we try to be as cooperative and helpful as we can be. When we need to push in a certain direction and think there's a basis for pushing in that direction, we try to do it gently. I think we've established a very cooperative relationship with all the relevant health authorities over time, including those in our Canadian cities. It's not easy. Nobody ever promised us it'd be easy. It's a tough slog sometimes, but we're getting through it.
Bill, quickly, do you know for Vancouver, Ottawa, is it 50% capacity?
My understanding currently is in British Columbia, it's 50% capacity, yes.
Okay.
All right, Bill, before we let you go, you're talking to a BC, a Vancouver audience here. What's Francesco Aquilini like to deal with?
Francesco's a fantastic guy. He really is. I think you'd all enjoy having a personal relationship with him. He's very genuine. He has the right values and he thinks about the right things. So he's a pleasure to deal with.
Bill, I know you're short on time these days. We thank you so much for making time for us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy New Year.
You bet.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.